So this replay was entitled Tyrion with a Bow, which should give you a clue as to the submitter of this replay. Yes, of course, it's Ryder Rohan back. Instead of his signature High Elves, he's going with the Wood Elves today, and I really like the comparison, actually, of the male Glade Lord on the Great Stag, specifically to Tyrion. Similar speed, very good attack and defense stats as well, and of course, less weapon strength, but comes equipped with a magical damage bow, which again doesn't do a crazy amount of damage, but it's a little bit of DPS over time. More importantly, the male Glade Lord here has much better support abilities than Tyrion, mostly with Helm of Discord, a massive area of effect. Standard melee attack, melee defense debuff is quite strong, plus a couple of passive melee attack charge bonus buffs here with the Banner of the Hunter King and Call of the Woods. Going to be supporting a fairly elite army for the Wood Elves here. We've got a couple of Dryads, not super elite against the Greenskins, moving in on some Vanguarded Night Goblins. I've got 3 Glade Riders here, 3 Blade Singers, Spellsinger Lore of Life, some Hagbane tips, Winterheart Guards, the Eternal Guard Unbreakable with shields, of course, and some Azrai Spear. As for the Greenskins, we see the Goblins over here on the side, Nasty Skulkers as well for the Smoke Bomb. Also got some Orc Boys and Black Orcs, lots of infantry. Grom the Paunch leading the way, Wolf Riders. Love the pick of the Rock Lobber as well. Probably would have gone with the Regiment of Renown. That blinded debuff, very good against the high stats of the Elves, but we've also got some Wolf Riders, Night Goblins scattered around the side. Can be tough to game plan at times in this matchup for the Greenskins because obviously, historically, the Wood Elves have excelled with their ranged units, but here we're seeing sort of a concentrated elite melee rush, and considering the terrain here, Wood Elves, of course, being one of the best factions at taking advantage of kind of disjointed terrain. We've got this sinkhole here into the actual void of Tzeentch. We've got these woods also to take advantage of, and just generally some restricted space, you know, a cliff side here that they can kind of set up against and work with. So they're going to be able to concentrate their forces fairly well, and let's see how Ryder Rohan does. Immediately going to be jumping in. That melee attack buff up on the Dryads, up to 45 melee attack as Hippie Bow Tyrion here does his best work. He's going to now move away. You can see Grom there also marauding, doing some pretty good damage to the Blade Singers. He does have to be careful, though. Right now, he's got all of his buffs active, so huge amount of weapon strength. Armor Sundering doesn't matter, but that damage resistance and melee defense means he won't take much damage at all from the Blade Singers. But that did not save those Orc Boys. They got absolutely cut to ribbons by the fancy red ponytails of the Blade Singers. Absolutely killer hairstyles there. Blade Singers, or sorry, the War Dancers here. Spear Dancers also supporting, getting some really good damage. This is a very ideal engagement against Grom. Let's see, though. He, of course, with very high mass, should be able to pull away. A little bit of friendly fire as well from those Hagbane tips as they attempt to hit him. Does hit some of those War Dancers as well. But Greenskins are definitely pressing in the center. We had some Black Orcs, including the Crimson Killers here, just branch on through and smash up those Dryads big time. The Blade Singers also suffering pretty badly, at least in one instance, but a nice Dwellers to kind of equalize things a little bit, rips apart one unit of Black Orcs. The Crimson Killers have also taken significant damage, but there's a lot of Greenskins to try and get through. Grom gets routed, though. They're able to do significant leadership damage. That will certainly help the Elves win their battle here, but though Tyrion once again maneuvering in. Does he have that Helm of Discord active? Yes, he does. Puts Grom down only 6 melee defense. And of course, that 90 speed means he can now pursue very well. The Greenskins are going to have to allocate some of their own light cavalry in order to screen here. You can see the Wolf Riders moving into position to do so, try and bail out Grom. He's got plenty of healing cap space left, so the Greenskins are able to get him out. Should be okay, but it looks like, yeah, Glade Lord drops his melee attack order momentarily there. Grom is likely to come back from rout, although he maybe could have tried to forward pressure with those Glade Riders, but they're also getting a little caught up, taking down that Night Goblin Shaman, who is casting some nice debuffs, been throwing around that itchy nuisance to decrease the offensive output of the Elves. And certainly, you know, the Blade Singers, if they start to get outnumbered too hard, they will die out pretty heavily, but their offensive output is going to be spectacular. And once again, Helm of Discord off cooldown, hopefully soon. That will significantly reduce the combat prowess of all these cheaper Orc infantry, especially allow the Blade Singers to just cut them down. A little bit of Earthblood there to also heal them back up. They've got lots of unit models still online. 81 out of 100 unit models still online, although some of them did get hit by that, the Curse to Bad Moon there, which, of course, not only deals damage, but also confers that nasty curse. Debuffs melee defense, most importantly, probably, for the Blade Singers. The armor and speed. I guess the speed debuff kind of helps a bit, but nice Wa being popped, and unfortunately for the Greenskins, a lot of their units that were fighting in this pocket route are at about the same time Wa's is popped. Across other parts of the battlefield here, Winterheart Guard's going to be finished off, although they've done a great job just kind of bogging down multiple units of Orcs in the meantime. Dryads also closing and holding. Looks like Smoke Bomb. I thought that was maybe another Dwellers, but that Spellsinger's also getting punished pretty hard, so they've got to be careful of that. But here we go, another Helm of Discord as Grom jumps in once again. Again, with all of his support units routed, he takes significant damage. Gets absolutely wrecked and has to pull away. Literally is fleeing. I mean, not that he has a choice. But now the Blade Singers finally collapse in a nice surround against this final health unit of Black Orcs and their boys. Nice downhill engagement for the Blade Singers. And those skinny, thin little elves, they are quite tiny in comparison, of course, to the Orcs, but definitely very agile and skilled. And, of course, big old stag, nice splash attack there. The Realm of Tzeentch in the background. Greenskins fighting their best, but going to be ground down over time. I mean, the Blade Singers with everything active, up to 60 melee attack between those two passive buffs. And even with Itchy Nuisance, they're still at 36 melee attack with a plus 12 bonus versus infantry. Black Orcs only have 32 melee defense, so, I mean, they're looking at, what, like 40-50% chance to hit there. Even with the debuff, without it, it's even higher, obviously, up to 70% chance to hit, perhaps. Have to actually do the math, but anyway, very impressive stuff, I have to say. It's one of the most underutilized Lord choices. I mean, there's been times in the past in Warhammer 2 where, like Felcon and some others, popularized the use of the Mailblade Lord on the Dragon, which I also think would probably be a pretty strong option for the Wood Elves right now. I don't get a lot of Wood Elf games, and I'll be honest, I haven't been playing much recently myself, although hopefully that changes now in the new year. Yeah, the Wood Elves, I mean, the Mailblade Lord on this mount and on the Dragon, I think both offer a lot of upside in potential situations. Here, specifically, I mean, being able to hunt Grom so efficiently with that high speed and support your infantry with great, support abilities, healing as well with Lure of Life, of course. Speaking of which, that Spellsinger getting murdered by Grom out in the distance. Of course, Grom did manage to recover his leadership and get back on the field. Blade Lord hasn't chased him all the way off, but, I mean, at this point, Greenskins' army is getting quite thin. And, of course, as long as he's set to fire at will, like here, it's hard to judge exactly how much value he got with his bow, but it is something else to consider, especially if you're fighting a faction that maybe has, like, flying characters, like Tzeentch, perhaps. I don't know. This guy's going to get sniped by magic missiles of Tzeentch pretty easily, so I probably wouldn't do that, but still, you know, or even here, like with Grom now pulling away. As he's chasing Grom, he can keep shooting. I mean, he does have fire while moving on the Great Stag, so as he's pursuing Grom, you can see Grom is being attacked there. Shows the little attack by missile icon on his status card, and that does offer an additional leadership debuff. So if I come in here and mouse over his leadership, let's see, under missile fire -5 is quote-unquote small arms fire, so like bows, crossbows, handguns, pistols, things like that will confer that leadership debuff. It's just that little bit of extra, on top of the fear and everything else from the Great Stag and the banner. Really is quite a bit for the Greenskins leadership to deal with, so love to see that. The Blade Lord here, not a crazy amount of value, but tanking out quite well, and the support is quite excellent. I mean, Blade Singers mostly able to pay for themselves, especially this one here, 262 kills, 20,000 damage dealt, 1,571 damage gold value. I love to see it. Glade Riders also very efficient in both shooting and fighting against Wolf Riders. I mean, the Wolf Riders also got their value back, must be said. One of them actually doubles their value, which is really nice. Love Wolf Riders in general. Super underrated unit. Even though Spider Riders technically are slightly better, it's good to probably have a mix of both here. In fact, I In hindsight, I probably would have cut one of these units, maybe two of these units of Orc Boys, maybe cut one Nasty Skulker, and then get some Spider Riders, or maybe Wolf Rider Archers even, or maybe a mix of those two. Hard to say, but yeah, a lot of the units for the Wood Elves perform quite well support-wise. I mean, yeah, the Blade Singers and the one Spear Dancer here definitely contributed greatly with that support. Yeah, Rock Lobber, I guess, it ended up being okay that he took the low tier one because he just kind of lost it very quickly there to the light cavalry. Didn't really highlight that super well, but great job by Ryder Rohan to shut that down right away. And then the goblins and orcs just kind of get ground down by the Blade Singers. A few of them managed to get some really nice value back with some of their own support, Wah and everything else, but just generally had a pretty tough time. Didn't have a great answer, to be honest, to the Glade Lord. And the Great Stag, I don't know. I didn't check to see if that Night Goblin Shaman had Vindictive Glare, but considering how quickly he died anyway and was kind of being routed off most of the time, I don't think it would have mattered that much. Hard to say. But anyway, let's just kind of quickly finish up with the Glade Lord here. A Lord type that is one of the most underrated perpetually generic Lords in the game, and is definitely something you should take a look at if you're struggling with Wood Elves. This guy gives you a significant amount of melee combat power with that Helm of Discord on a damage spike. Of course, again, the Great Stag gives him armor-piercing damage in melee. He's got really strong attack and defense stats, which he retains on this mount, and a decent charge bonus, which then gets increased with Banner of the Hunter King. You could probably cut Deadly Onslaught and Foe Seeker if you need the extra points, but all things considered, 1750 is not insanely cheap, but it's certainly cheap enough that, like, they're, you know, 1,000, 1,100 of his own damage value plus the support value easily is able to get your money back on him. And of course, if you want to go for the big monster, the Glade Dragon, Forest Dragon, magic damage, poison damage, great armor-piercing damage, flying, of course, you get the breath attacks as well, decent amount of HP, and physical resistance. But it is a little bit risky, a little bit squishy at times. I mean, dragons are certainly better than they used to be, but I haven't given this guy too much of a try on this mount in recent times. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. I might give it a shot and bring you guys an update soon. Look forward to that. Be sure to subscribe for more. Like this video if you liked it. Share it with a friend if you found it useful. Thanks again. We'll see you next time.